very good idea. And if you watch the video, or the 3 videos, you will learn how you can start your validation application. Okay, so I think you guys now can see my screen. And some of you probably already saw this, this slide. Why did I create my project, engineersinaustralia.com, and a little bit about me. So I'm not going to go through that again, but just in summary, I created just to help you guys to have an easier or a less frustrated experience in validating your qualification here in Australia, because when I did it back in 2005, you know, there was no information and I banged my head against the wall many, many times. So I don't want you guys to do that. And a little bit about me. I'm a Brazilian engineer, civil engineer. I graduated back in 1994. It's been already, I don't know, almost 28 years graduated. Yeah, it's just a lot of time. And here in Australia, I'm a chartered professional engineer with Engineers Australia. And also because I live in Queensland and I provide professional engineering services, I am registered as a professional engineer of Queensland, RPEQ. In Queensland, if you provide professional engineering services, it is illegal to do that if you're not registered as RPEQ or if you are not directly supervised by RPEQ. And also I've done many, many different courses during my professional career. And nowadays I'm the operations manager for the Road Tech, which is the business arm or commercial arm of the Department of Transport and Main Roads. And we build and maintain transport infrastructure projects and assets. So roads, bridges, tunnels, and electrical installations and everything else that is in the transport network infrastructure. Here in the business, we've got around 250 staff amongst permanents and labor hire. So it is a sizable business, and I share in my project, in my YouTube channel, things about engineering as well. And this is another 34-second audio. It's a message from Erica, a civil engineer that she was approved as by Engineers Australia. And I shared this audio because this motivates me to keep going in my project and help you guys to achieve your objective, which is to become an engineer in Australia. And her case was really a very complicated case. She almost gave up, and but she was, determined, and she got it in the end. So it's just 30 seconds.
Gerson, eles responderam. Eu tô chorando de alegria aqui. Eles aprovaram meu diploma, graças a Deus, minha validação, e aprovaram meus 2 anos de Austrália, mais 6 anos no Brasil. Meu Deus do céu, eu não tô aguentando de felicidade. Ai, meu Deus, obrigada, eu não tenho nem como te agradecer. Nossa, muito obrigada, Gerson, você não sabe o quanto que você me ajudou. Depois eu vou até escrever um depoimento no Facebook te agradecendo, porque, nossa, muito obrigada, foi muito essencial, obrigada mesmo.
Yeah, so very emotional testimony. When I got that message, she said, I rang her back, and she said that she just received the email from Engineers Australia, and when she read it, she was so happy. She was crying, and I almost cried as well because I knew her story, her difficulties, her efforts here in Australia. And she did very well. And now Not that she's validated as a civil engineer. She got a job as a civil engineer. And I believe that the next steps now is for her to get her visa, her permanent visa in the future. So well done, Erica.
Yes.
And I brought this to this slide with these two letters again, just to reinforce the importance and to remind about the objective of this validation process that probably you guys and most of you guys you have now. This first one on the right hand side where the mouse is the letter of assessment from Engineers Australia. That is actually my letter that I received back in, when was it? 21st of June 2006. So which tells me that I'm validated as a civil engineer, and there is a code here where you actually use in your migration process. And then the other one is to also reinforce the importance to keep going. The letter on the right is about your validation as an engineer. And the certificate on the left is my certificate of the Chartered Professional Engineer, CPEng. And this tells to the industry that you are a competent engineer, that you can provide professional engineering services without being supervised, pretty much. So it's very important that once you get your validation, that you also get your chartered professional status, especially in Queensland, because it's mandatory for you to be registered. And to be registered, you need to either get your CPEng or get your RPEng with Professionals Australia as well. And in New South Wales and Victoria, they started their registration process last year. So for some professions, for some types of engineers, you will need to be registered to be able to provide professional engineering services. So very important to validate and very important to get your charter status, because if you want to get a job as an engineer, for those ones that are registered, for those ones that are chartered professional engineers, your hunt for a job as an engineer will be much easier. It's not going to be that easy, but it's going to be easier than if you are not validated or if you are not a chartered professional engineer. And why to recognize engineering qualification in Australia? Make the dream to come true in working as an engineer in Australia. You guys probably saw in my videos that I worked as a cleaner, I worked as kitchen hand, I worked in many other jobs here in Australia. But I studied a lot, as probably you guys did as well. And work as an engineer is something that it is a dream to work as an engineer. So validating your qualification as an engineer will make your job hunt much easier. Also, I have lots of capabilities that I can help engineering, as well as you guys have as well. And I'm pretty sure that once you start work as an engineer in Australia, you will be able to contribute to the engineering profession. And I chose to work for the government. And being a public servant, obviously, the work that I do helps the Queenslanders, helps a lot of people here in Queensland, in Brisbane. So I'm paying back pretty much what I got from my, everything that I had in my life. I'm paying back now. Also for personal and professional development, once you work as an engineer, you keep yourself updated with the news and best practices, and you are in the industry, you are observing things that are happening, you are delivering new and more effective work, so you are getting your personal and professional development as well. An important aspect of that for a lot of us, or most of us, is the opportunity to migrate to Australia. Once you validate your engineering qualification, you become eligible to apply for many different visas that can lead you to a permanent residency. So very important with that as well. And beginning of a family transformation, that's myself and my wife in the back. We just arrived in Bali, where we took this picture. Once you are then an engineer, you're getting more income, you're earning more money, you are a permanent resident, you don't have those concerns about going and then not being able to come back, etc. This is just one picture. We ended up going to pretty much all countries in the Southeast Asia because it's just there. It becomes more affordable because, you know, instead of earning 25-30 bucks an hour as a cleaner, you're making, you know, a salary of an engineer, and you can afford to travel, afford to buy a house, and those sort of things. And offer better conditions to grow my daughter up and look after my family better. Yeah, that's my daughter there. She's 14 years old now. This picture has a few years already. But she's 14 years now, and we're very glad that she's growing up here in Australia. We don't really have some of the concerns that we would have. For example, if we're still in Brazil, we saw the news and we saw things that happen. We got family there, so we see how things are there. As much as we love Brazil and we love our country, there are things that it does not depend on the people there. It depends on the situation overall. And here in Australia, obviously, we're not immune of all of those things, but we feel much safer, we feel much secure here in Australia. So the webinar this morning, what you're going to talk about, we talk about the pathways to the qualification validation. If you are an overseas engineer, as I said, we're going to review briefly all the process. We're going to talk about the 6 steps for the CDR preparation, the competency demonstration report. We're going to talk about the English test, the CPD, the career episodes, and the summary statement. And we're also going to talk about the Engineers Australia Code of Ethics, a very important document that you guys need to read as well. And as I said in the beginning, I'm going to talk about the Validation Formula Mentoring Program, that it is my online mentoring program that I'm opening a new group today. And we're going to have question and answer. So if you have questions, please send them in the comments. You can start sending now, because in the middle of the webinar, I will be answering questions as well. And I just updated this last night. I would like to thank you guys very much for all the support in my social media. Just some numbers. I've got 3,100 followers in my Facebook page. My Facebook page is Engineers in Australia. And my website, I've got 2,700 people subscribed to my website, and they get emails as an updates. And my YouTube channel, 669 subscribers in my YouTube channel, with 15,000 views in my more than 180 videos. I was doing an account, and I think that 180 videos, I spent like 3,000 hours in my 180 videos. That's about preparation and editing and recording the videos and publishing the videos, etc. So more than 3,000 hours of my free time, spare time, that I dedicated in the content to help you guys to get your validation completed, or for you to get a job as an engineer. I've got some videos in my YouTube channel that I give hints how you can get your job as an engineer. So if you're not subscribed yet, please visit my YouTube channel, consider subscribing, and obviously if you can hit like in those videos, even now, if you think that this content is important for you, if you can, please hit like so the video can go to other people and the information can help other engineers as well. In the Telegram group, we are 797 participants until last night. I think today we got a little bit more. And in the Telegram group, it's like WhatsApp. It's a messaging app. And it's where I send posts, notifications, and audios, etc. And Instagram, I've got 1,686 followers in my Instagram. It's not a lot, but I think it shows that a lot of people, they're interested in the content. I know that sometimes, because the content is in English, sometimes people don't really like too much. Even though in Brazilian, a lot of people ask me, Gerson, why don't you do your content in Portuguese? In the beginning, I was doing, but then my mission is to spread the word and the information to as much as people as I can. And a lot of people from other countries, Philippines, Egypt, Qatar, India, Pakistan, Argentina, Venezuela, Chile, they started to ask me if I was going to do the content in English. So, and I think that it was, even though probably I lost a little bit of audience, but those audience that not interested in listening in English are probably the audience that not going to become an engineer anyway. Because if you want to become an engineer in Australia, your English needs to be good. And a good exercise is to listen to English. I know I'm not a native speaker. My English is not perfect, but listening to any English is much better than not listening at all. So it's a good exercise. In the workshop, you saw that some of the videos, or the 3 videos, they are in Portuguese and English. And I recorded them, obviously, twice. I could have recorded just in English, but I know the importance of you guys to understand the process, so I recorded in Portuguese so you guys could understand very well the process, and then watch the video in English, because then you understood the process, and then listening in English, it's when you start then training your listening and training your thinking in English, which will be very beneficial, because we'll see here that English test is a criteria for the validation process. If you can write all the reports that you need to do, but if you don't have your English test result with a minimum score, you're not going to be successful. So thank you very much for that. So consider following me in my social media and share the content with other engineers that you think will benefit from that, and I really appreciate that. So the different pathways for the qualification validation. So Engineers Australia, and this diagram comes from the Engineers Australia booklet, the Migration Skills Assessment booklet. And you can see that there are here 5 different pathways. So the first pathway on the left is my qualification is accredited by Engineers Australia, which means that you studied here in Australia, in an Australian university, you did your bachelor degree in Australia, and that bachelor degree is accredited by Engineers Australia. If you are applying for professional engineer, if you are applying for engineering technologies or associate engineering associate, obviously there are then associate degrees and Bachelor of Technology degrees that are recognized by Engineers Australia. But overall, I'm talking about professional engineers. So professional engineers, you need to have a bachelor degree here in Australia, at least 4 years or equivalent. So if you study that, you can then apply under the Australian qualification pathway. But if your qualification is overseas, outside of Australia, it then means that you have the other pathways that you can consider. So under the second, the third, and the fourth one, I'm counting the pointing the mouse, this one, that one there, and that one there, under the Washington Accord, Sydney Accord, and the Dublin Accord. The only difference between the Washington, Sydney, and Dublin is the category level. The Washington Accord is for professional engineers, the Sydney Accord is for engineering technologists, and the Dublin Accord is for engineering associates. So again, if you are under the Washington Accord, it means that you graduated in a university from a country that is a full signatory of the Washington Accord. So there are 25, I think, 25 or 26 countries that they are full signatories of the Washington Accord. There are some countries that they are what they call provisional signatories. But the country needs to be a full signatory. A full signatory means that Engineers Australia went to those courses and they assessed as being equivalent to an Australian degree. So provisional means that those courses they're not approved yet, but they are on the way to be accredited. So that is under the Washington Accord. So if you are, for example, let's say from Japan, if you are from Japan, Japan is a full signatory of the Washington Accord. I don't remember the year that Japan signed, but let's say that they signed in 1990. So it means that if you graduated in 1990 or after, Japan became a full signatory of the Washington Accord, you are eligible to apply under the Washington Accord pathway. And it's pretty much just to fill out a form, pay the fee, and that's it. You don't need to do much more. And under the Sydney Accord, if you want, you can do the same thing, but then for the category of engineering technologist. And under the Dublin Accord, same pathway, but with the engineering associate category. And the booklet, it's not in the diagram, but the booklet also talks about if you are an engineer from France. If we have any engineer from France here, I believe it was 2020 or 2019. And if you are a member of the Institution of Engineers in France, then you are eligible. You can apply under the Washington Accord pathway. But for the majority of other engineers overseas, if your country is not a full signatory of any of those accords, and if you didn't study here a bachelor degree in a recognized Australian qualification, you will have to apply under the Cdr Pathway, which is the Competency Demonstration Report, Cdr Pathway, and you will have to follow then the 6 steps for the Cdr Pathway that I'm going to talk now. And just before I go to the 6 steps, it's important to say that Engineers Australia has 2 types of validation. One type of validation is the Migration Skills Assessment, which the name already says. It's a migration process. Has a migration purpose. It's not a migration process. It has a migration purpose. And then there is stage 1 of eligibility membership, which does not have a migration purpose, which means that if you are already a permanent resident, or if you don't want to apply for any visa using your qualification validation, you can apply under the stage 1 of membership eligibility. So the Cdr stages, the first step, there are 6 steps for the Cdr pathway. Step number 1, personal information. That's fairly straightforward. You just need to provide your photo or your passport in a passport size, your identification. It can be your passport or can be your national ID card. Your change of name, if that's the case, perhaps you, because of marriage, or even here in Australia, you can change your name. Then if you did that, you need to have your change of name document. And also you need to provide your CV and your resume. Important thing about the CV and resume is that if you're going to use just your academic experience in your career episodes, it's important that your CV and resume has a little bit more details about your academic life. If you're going to use your work experience, obviously you need to have your work experience. But the important thing is that let's say that you graduated in 2017, for example, and then you came to Australia, and since then you didn't work as an engineer, and now it's 2022. So you need to have, since you graduated, you got to have all your experiences there, all periods, even those periods that you didn't work as an engineer. So let's say that you graduated in 2017 and then you came to Australia, worked in many things. You need to put in your CV the things that you worked for. So if you work as a deliveroo or a cleaner or whatever, you need to put in there. You cannot have gaps since you left university until here. If you do, Engineers Australia will probably going to ask you to resubmit your CV. And they're going to ask, what did you do between this period and that period? Because there is a gap, there is a window. There's a window in your CV. What did you do in that window? So that's step number one. Step number two is your application. So in your application, you will need to choose the category and the occupation. So category, you have three categories there: the professional engineer, engineering technologist, and engineering associate. There's a fourth one, which is engineering manager, but that is just for for migration purposes. If you are approved as an engineering manager, you're not eligible to become a member of Engineers Australia because it's not engineer, it's manager. So according to ANZ SEO occupation definition. So that is the category. Three categories, perhaps four. And then the occupations. Occupations are those ones in the last page of the booklet. The page number 50, I think there is the list of occupations there, and there is a number next to it. Those numbers, they are the ANZ SEO codes, the Australian New Zealand Standard Classification of Occupations. And it means that if you're applying to be recognized as a civil engineer or a mechanical engineer, chemical engineer, structural engineer, electrical engineer, electronics engineer, production engineer, whatever. Oh yeah, Gerson, but I am a metallurgical engineer and my profession is not there in the list. Yes, you're right. Metallurgical is not there, and it's not in a specialization from mechanical. So in that case, you need to apply under the NEC. It's professional engineer, NEC. NEC stands for not elsewhere classified. So there's a specific code for that. For all other types of engineers that are not in the ANZ SEO occupation definition, you need to apply under the professional engineer, not elsewhere classified. So that's step number two. Step number three is about your education. In education, you need to prepare your academic certificates. For example, your bachelor degree certificate. If you have a master's degree, your master's degree certificate. A graduate diploma, a graduate certificate, which is your post-graduation courses, you've got to have your certificates there. And also your academic transcripts. If you're applying for, let's say, I applied for civil engineer. I got my academic transcript of my civil engineering degree, and then I uploaded that as well, or sent in hard copy because the time wasn't really uploaded. And important to say that if the documents are not in any document that is not in English language, you need to have it translated by an authorized translator. Oh yeah, Gerson, but this translator, do they need to be an ATI translator? No, they don't. According to the booklet, they don't need to be Nati translators. The booklet doesn't specify that. It specifies that it needs to be an authorized translator. Authorized translator means that they will have a translator ID. They'll be registered. For example, in Brazil, we call them tradutor juramentado. They might have some identification there, so you need to have their identification, and also you need to have their contact details. And then step number 4 is your skilled employment. So skilled employment is necessary if used in the career episodes and or for relevant skilled employment assessment. So if you're doing the RSEA assessment, is the validation of your work experience by Engineers Australia, you need to have a reference letter as well. Engineers Australia used to ask if you put in your resume that you had more than 12 months in the engineering employment, you had to provide a reference letter as well. I'm not sure if it's still the case, but I've seen many cases where Engineers Australia did ask a reference letter, even if you didn't use a career episode, but they were asking for the reference letter as well. And the reference letter, you will probably remember from the videos that it's important to have, obviously, to be in the company letterhead, papel timbrado, and also need to have, obviously, your name, the position or title that you occupied, your start date and finish date, day, month, and year, and also at least the 5 main functions that you did in that position there. If you are applying for RSEA, you will have to have if you were working part-time or full-time and what was your salary base. Can be monthly or can be annually or whatever. And also, obviously, the name of the person that is signing the letter and their contact details as well. So that's step number 4. Step number 5 is for you to write your reports. And there are 3 types of reports: the CPD, which is the continuing professional development, the career episodes, and the summary statement. And I'm going to talk about them a little bit later on. So that's step number 5. And step number 6 is the application itself in the Engineers Australia website. So you will have to create an ID, which once you are approved, that's going to be your member number or your membership number. And then in this last step, you will select again, your category, your occupation. You fill the blanks, put the name of your university, and upload your English test, upload all your reports, and also you will pay the fee. You have to choose the services that Engineers Australia is offering. I may do a tutorial in one of the live sessions on Sundays. I may do one tutorial just showing the website. I can create a different profile, so we can then just show to you as an educational basis how you kind of upload and everything, and the things that you need to pay attention to. In my mentoring program, I do have that tutorial. And so you pay the fee, and then you submit, and then you just wait for your result. It can be also a feedback. If something is not quite good or something is missing or a document that's not matching things, Engineers Australia, if it's not good, you saw in video number 3 that there is a revision process. But before the revision process, they send you a feedback and they give you 30 days for you to respond. It could be simply to correct the name of the university. Sometimes it's different from your certificate, so you need to be exact the same. Or it could be things that you have to rewrite your career episode because they didn't like the experience, or even worse, they could say that they caught you by plagiarism, and then you need to explain why that thing happened. So these are the 6 steps of the qualification. And then going to English test scores. There are 4 bands, as you probably know. If you didn't, there are 4 bands in the English test scores: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And there are 3 types of tests that you can do. One is IELTS. You have to have at least 6 in all bands. So you got to have at minimum 6 in listening, 6 in reading, 6 in writing, and 6 in speaking. You can do TOEFL as well. And then in those bands, 12 in listening, 13 in reading, 21 in writing, and 18 in speaking. And also in PTE, you need to have 50 in all bands. So, oh, Gerson, but I heard that last year PTE said that the equivalence in IELTS number 6 is going to be different. How is that working? You need to be careful and always look at the Engineers Australia website. If they change the equivalence in scores, they will reflect in the booklet. So if the booklet still says 50 in all bands, it is 50 in all bands. I believe that that advice was just an advice, that the equivalence would be different. It is up to the authorities to take that advice and change their processes or not. So far, Engineers Australia hasn't changed their processes, so it's still 50 in all bands. Another important thing about English test, let's say that listening, reading, writing, speaking, it's 6 in all bands. Some people, they say, Gerson, but I got 6 overall. I got 6.5 in listening, 5.5 in reading, 6 in writing, and 6 in speaking. Can I apply? No. Unfortunately, you have to have 6 minimum in all bands. Even though you got a little bit more in listening, overall is 6, it doesn't count. You need to do another test. And then let's say that you do another test, you still got 6.5 in listening, you got then 6 in reading, but then somehow you got 5.5 in writing and 6 in speaking. Oh, Gerson, I got my 6 in the reading, but I dropped in writing. Is there a problem? It could be okay. Engineers Australia says that you can send 2 tests of the same, obviously, test using the different results to kind of add to each other. So you can send the first one where you didn't get 6 in reading, but you did get 6 in writing. And then you send the second one where you got the 6 in reading, but your writing was 5.5. So if both tests, they all have 6 in the 4 bands, you should be all right. But they need to be the same test. You cannot send an IELTS with TOEFL or IELTS with PTE or PTE with TOEFL, etc. And CPD is your continuing professional development. It is quite simple document. You don't need to be too concerned about the CPD. It's just 1 page, A4. It's maximum 1 page. Don't write more than 1 page. And you can do like a little table, 5 columns. Column 1, title, date, duration, venue, and organizer. And you can have different CPD events for that. You can have, for example, any post-graduation course. You can have, even if you're doing a diploma here in business or diploma in project management, diploma in civil engineering, whatever, you can include those ones in your CPD. Also, conferences as a presenter or a participant, workshop, courses, seminars, discussion groups, technical inspections or technical visits. You can also include those events as CPD as long as you learned something. And then preparation, presentation of course material, conferences and symposiums. Even if you are presenting in a meeting in your company, you're presenting a paper, you're presenting the result of your project, lessons learned, etc., you can use that as a CPD event. Also, services to the engineering profession. For example, when I review career episodes for chartered professional engineers as an industry peer review, that time that I use, I get CPD hours for my CPD. And also private study, which is the type of CPD event that you guys can probably accumulate now. Includes books, journals, manuals, technical magazines, technical specifications, legislation, those sort of things. I had here, where is this? For example, this is the March 22 Engineers Australia magazine. So I get 30 minutes every month just as a CPD, just because I read the Engineers Australia magazine. So I put in my CPD records that, let's say March, I recorded 30 minutes of CPD reading the Engineers Australia magazine. So I keep saying to you guys that you guys need to go to Engineers Australia website or any other engineering website and search for articles that you will learn something, and then take notes of that to start getting your CPD content. Because if you left your country and since then you didn't really study anything, you didn't participate in workshops, etc., the way that you can do it for free is to read technical articles, technical specifications, and then just take notes, and you will be able to accumulate your CPD events. The career episodes. Career episode is an account of your engineering education and or work experience. And each career episode focuses upon a specific period or distinct aspect of your engineering activity. And each career episode, you need to write 3 in total, must focus on a different period or aspect of your engineering activity. And each episode should focus on how you applied your engineering knowledge and skills in the nominated occupation. I answered a question this week. Somebody was asking how can they write an effective career episode. And that is from the booklet. This information that it's on the screen is from the booklet. When they talk about different period or aspect of your engineering activity, means that they want to see something different. They don't want to see 3 career episodes about the same thing, even though it could be different projects, but about the same thing. So you need to think about what are the different aspects of my engineering activity, different periods of my engineering activity. I'm not saying that you cannot write 3 different career episodes, but talking about the same thing. You can, but I'm just saying that it's more effective if you write from different aspects or different periods of your engineering activity. So you're not repeating the same thing. Yeah, Gerson, but I worked as an engineer doing the same thing for my whole career. I worked 5 years, and those 5 years I was doing the same thing. Different projects, but doing the same thing. Well, if you don't really have something else, then that's okay. But still, I encourage you, well, if you have 5 years doing the same thing, just different projects, perhaps it would be a good idea if you go back to your university experience and perhaps choose something a little bit different. So you are covering a different period and a different aspect of your engineering career. And you may base your career episode upon an engineering task undertaken as part of your educational program, your university subjects or your university assignments, a project you have worked on or you are currently working on, a specific position that you occupied or currently occupy. In this case, the career episode must comprise more than a mere duty statement. We're not talking about for you to attach your position description. You need to talk, if you're talking about the position, you need to talk about experiences that you had while in that position. And also could be a particular engineering problem that you were required to solve. And I like this, the last one. And I teach my students that when we talk about the career episode, think about a problem, an engineering problem, and then you describe the problem. You think about what could be the different options to solve that problem. So you list 2 or 3 options there. For each option, you have the pros and cons, and then you use your engineering judgment and knowledge and skills to analyze those options and choose a particular solution. And then you implement that solution, and then you got the results. So this is the structure that I teach my students. Because engineers, we are very methodic, and the assessor is an engineer as well. So you got to think about an engineer. You got to think that the assessor, the person assessing your work, is an engineer. And usually engineers are very analytical and very methodic. So if you have a method that the person can follow, it will probably going to be better. And the career episodes must be based on work conducted personally by you and must be written entirely in your own words. Presenting work conducted by others as your own and are using other people's words, templates, career episodes, online sources, etc. is considered plagiarism and is a violation of Engineers Australia Code of Ethics. And this carries significant penalties, including the rejection of the application, imposition of up to 36 months ban, and no reporting of your details to the Department of Home Affairs for further investigation and action. So that's very important, guys. And that's why I teach you how to write. I don't write on your behalf. A lot of people ask if I write those things. I said, no, it's plagiarism. I teach you how to write. So you can think about your own experience. I teach you what is a competency and how you can address that. And you can then write by yourself without having the issue of plagiarism. So very important. Yeah, Gerson, but in the Facebook group, I asked if somebody could send me the career episode. I could, just for me to have a look, to have an idea. I don't think it's a good idea, because when you get somebody else's career episode and you read it, you may copy a few things, and it's a risk. It's unnecessary risk. It can be done without that. The booklet is very clear how you need to write things, and you don't need to copy people's career episode or even have a look to do that, because your brain will pick up some parts and paragraphs, and you may be in trouble because unintentionally you kind of copied. Summary statement. It's important to remember you have 16 competencies to be addressed, and those competencies they are in the booklet. For each competency, you need to number the paragraphs in the career episode. So in video number 3, you saw that there's an example there of the summary statement. I'm going to show today again. And when you're writing your career episode, you're going to number each paragraph. Paragraph number 1, career episode number 1, paragraph number 1. So that is your first paragraph of your career episode number 1. So it will be CE 1.1. And it's going to be the first paragraph of your introduction. And let's say that career episode number 2, paragraph number 10 is going to be then CE 2.10. So 2.10. which means career episode number 2, paragraph number 10. And let's say that this paragraph number 2, career episode number 2, paragraph number 10, you talk about the design processes. Which means that in your summary statement, when you have the competency PE 2.3, which talks about design, you will describe why you believe you're competent in that competency, and then what paragraph it's the proof, is the evidence of that. And then you're going to put CE 2.10. The assessor will see that, and then the assessor, he or she, will go to career episode number 2, paragraph number 10, we'll read that paragraph, and we'll say, oh yes, it talks about the design processes, the things, etc., etc., etc. So tick, it's all right. But just one paragraph is not enough. You've got to have probably few paragraphs or many paragraphs for each competency, just to make sure that in case the assessor doesn't like of one paragraph, you have other paragraphs as well, so you don't run the risk of not having any other paragraph that the assessor can check for your evidence. So list the reasons why you believe you have demonstrated that competency. I talk about this, we'll talk about, you'll see when I show the template of the summary statement, that I talked about the middle column. There's a left-hand column, the middle column, and the right-hand column. So the middle column, you need to list the reasons why you believe you have demonstrated that competency. And the summary statement template is the only template that I recommend you guys to use. It's in the Engineers Australia website. It's a Word document, and you can download from Engineers Australia website. And you just need one summary statement for the 3 career episodes. You don't need more than that. You don't need one summary statement for each career episode. You can combine all the evidence and paragraphs numbers in one summary statement. And that is the example from the booklet. You can see that that is the right-hand column where you see all the competencies. And then the middle column here is a brief summary of how you have applied the element. And in the right-hand column, it's where you put the paragraph number. Obviously, it's missing some competence because it's just a screenshot up to P 2.2. So the Engineers Australia Code of Ethics. It's important to say that, and that's a very important document. I strongly encourage you guys to go to Engineers Australia website and download the Code of Ethics, because it's an important reading. And during the assessment, competency PE 3.1 talks about ethics, and the first element is about the Engineers Australia Code of Ethics. So it's important for you to read, because you can then perhaps use lots of examples that you had following the Engineers Australia Code of Ethics. One example is if you are doing some design work and you're following a technical standard. This is part of the Engineers Australia Code of Ethics. It's practiced competently, that you follow an approved standard. So if you say in your career episode that you followed a standard to do your design work, you can demonstrate that paragraph under the competency PE 3.1. And this is just one of the examples that I talk about in my mentoring program. I give many, many examples how you can address each of the 16 competencies. So we've got demonstrate integrity, practice competently, exercise leadership, promote sustainability. So these are the 4 pillars of the Engineers Australia Code of Ethics. And you will see that under each of those pillars, there will be some dot points there. Demonstrate integrity, for example. One of them is when you an example that you could use that in your own experience is when you talk to the client and the client said, I'm not sure about this. And then you explain, all right, I presented this quote here, and I'm using this material because of this, because of that. It's going to give a more design life. It's going to be slightly more expensive, but it's going to be safer, etc., etc., etc. So that's how you demonstrate integrity. You explain to the customer, and the customer can make an educated decision. So if you did that, you can use that example as part of your competency in, for example, PE 3.1. All right. So we've been, wow, 1 hour already. Time flies. So I'll try to be quick. So the next half of the webinar, a lot of people ask me a lot of questions about my mentoring program. So I'm going to explain how it's going to work. So what is this mentoring program? How does it work? What are the 9 bonuses, and how much would this cost, warranty, and the benefits in doing that? I think I had some questions. I'm just going to have a quick look. Yeah, Luis in Telegram. Thanks, Luis, for your question. He's asked, suppose that Engineers Australia make comments in the career episodes, and suppose there is no room to make improvements. Does this mean that I will not meet the requirements of this category? Does this mean that I'll be able to be approved as registered professional and not as chartered professional? Yeah, not quite understood what you want to talk about, but when the Engineers Australia, they make comments, they give you most of times 30 days for you to respond back. So if you submit your application, and let's say that there's something that's not quite good, they'll send a feedback and they'll give you 30 days for you to respond. If you don't respond in 30 days, or when you respond, you don't really respond quite correctly, then they're not going to ask again. Usually, they use the information that you provided and they will make a decision, either to approve you or not to approve. Does it mean I will not meet the requirements of this category? If you provide a response and if Engineers Australia is not happy, they may offer you a lower category, for example, engineering technologies or engineering associate, or they may reject 100%. So depends on the assessor. Does this mean that I'll be able to be approved as registered professional and not as chartered professional? No, because the registered professional and chartered professional is the step after your validation. So if you don't get validated, you're not eligible to be registered, or you are not eligible to be chartered professional. So the validation is the prerequisite for the second stage. Yeah, thanks for the question. All right, so keep going. So, and I'm going to explain my mentoring program, just telling you a quick story. And that's a story of the 2 young people from Martin Conroy, and he's working at the Wall Street Journal. So just bear with me. 25 years ago, 2 young men went to the same university, and they were very similar. They both got good grades. They were both good people. And like any other recent graduate, they both had ambitious dreams for the future. And recently, the 2 young men returned to university for their 25-year reunion. And they were still very similar. The 2 had married, the 2 had 3 children, and believe it or not, the 2 ended up going to the same company after graduation. and they were still there after 25 years. But there was only one difference, just a difference between them. One was the manager of a small department of the company, and the other one was the president of that company. So a lot of people ask the question, what made this difference? Have you ever thought, just I thought, what could make this kind of difference in people's lives? What are the decisions? What are the turns that make this kind of difference? So how about if there was a formula that when you learn, you can change the path of your validation journey, that can completely transform the way you will prepare the documentation of your CDR. That way that you will think and write your career episodes and the summary statement. Well, the good news is I have that formula. And as I said, I'm Gerson, and for the last 10 years, I've been interviewing engineers, reviewing career episodes, so they could move forward and take the next step in the professional engineering journey. And now I'm teaching this formula, and the students are already getting the results. They have managed to overcome their fears and are writing their reports confidently toward the ultimate goal, which is to get Engineers Australia approval and be recognized as engineers here in Australia. And I already have several stories so far. So I've got 19 at the moment. Starting with Leila, a Brazilian civil engineer who lives in Tasmania, who submitted the CDR application in December 2019 and was approved in January 2020. And now with this positive result, allowed her and her family to apply for the visa here in Australia, which is the beginning of their life transformation. And then was Walter, a Brazilian environmental engineer who was approved in April 2020. And then it was Bernardo, a civil engineer who was approved in May 2020. In August, Cristiano, civil engineer who was approved. Those are the messages that I got from them. And Rothenberg, mechanical engineer approved by Engineers Australia. October 2020 was Erica, a civil engineer living in Sydney. And in December, it was Duda from Adelaide, and she was approved as an engineering draftsperson in the engineering associate category. And it doesn't stop there. In December, Ricardo, a production engineer, got the good news in Spain. February 2021, Peterson received his approval as a mechanical engineer. Myra received the good news in March, approved as engineering draftsperson as well. And Danielle received the good news in May 2021 as mining engineer. Vinicius in July 2021 approved as electrical engineer. Alison received in August 2021 approved as electronics engineer. And he got a job then in the company that he was working in, was promoted to an engineer position. Guilherme was very happy in September 2021, approved as mechanical engineer. And Guilherme is a very good example that there's no limit to age. I think he's 62 years old. He's already a permanent resident, and he was approved under the membership, stage 1 membership eligibility for Engineers Australia. In September last year, Andre was approved as civil engineer. Marceli was approved in October as a civil engineer. And another Andre was approved in November 2021 as civil engineer. And also in November 2021, Rodrigo was approved as production engineer. And also in November, Marcos was approved as civil engineer as well. And I did an interview with Leila. She's very special. She was my first student that was approved. And I did an interview, and she's got a very inspiring story. And it's important to listen, especially because you guys need a lot of motivation. You guys need, motivation means motive for action. And her interview, I selected just some parts of the interview. You will see that how inspiring is her story. So it's 6 minutes and 17 seconds. I know that's a little bit long, but it's important to hear, because if you're going through that journey, it's important to understand what other engineers they faced, the difficulties that they faced, and what did they do to overcome those difficulties.
Oi, Gerson, obrigada pelo convite. É um prazer estar aqui falando contigo, que me deu todo esse suporte para conseguir esse reconhecimento da minha profissão como engenheiro civil aqui pelo Engineers Austrália. Então, eu comecei a tentar olhar os requisitos no site do Engineers Austrália, li todo o booklet, e tentei, me programei com todas as atividades que eu tinha que fazer, os documentos que eu precisava reconhecer, tudo prontinho. Só que quando chegou na hora de escrever os episódios de carreira e entender aquele summary statement, eu me enrolei, não consegui, fiquei assim, patinei naquele negócio e pensei, bom, eu preciso de ajuda. Porque eu não sou do tipo de pessoa assim, muito fácil para pedir ajuda. Eu sempre acho que eu consigo tudo sozinha. Isso foi um grande problema, porque eu demorei muito para reconhecer que eu precisava de ajuda. Enfim, daí eu comecei a procurar informação na internet. Só que o que acontece? Eu tinha visto bastante aqueles casos de ser banido por plágio, por várias coisas, de pessoas que contratam serviços de empresas para escrever os seus episódios da carreira. Isso está muito claro no site do Engineers Austrália. E tem uma outra coisa que a gente aprende aqui na Austrália, é que o tempo aqui, a gente consegue muito mais visualizar o que tempo é dinheiro aqui do que no Brasil.
Exatamente.
Porque aqui a gente ganha por hora. Então, cada hora a mais do que a gente perde fazendo uma coisa que a gente não tem experiência, não, que assim, com a ajuda do outro, a gente faria muito mais rápido, a gente fica ali se debatendo, tentando fazer sozinho, sabe? Então, assim, eu acho que aqui vale muito mais o tempo, porque pedir ajuda, sabe? Eu acho que é um bom investimento. Enfim, então eu decidi e fiquei muito feliz. Foi uma grande, assim, uma decisão muito feliz que eu tive. Realmente, o teu trabalho realmente conseguiu me ajudar muito, respondeu às minhas dúvidas, tu conseguiu no material naquelas aulas, enfim, que a gente fazia, teve muitos exemplos de como que eu poderia justificar e cumprir cada requisito. Então, assim, foi fundamental. Eu assim, com todo o material que tu fornece, com os encontros, eu me senti assim, super preparada, que eu tinha tudo que eu precisava para começar. Então, eu só precisava realmente sentar e fazer. Sabe? Foi essa sensação, porque antes eu sentava, olhava e não sabia nem por onde começar. Então, assim, o teu material me ajudou assim muito, porque eu sabia, eu tive aquela tranquilidade assim, agora é só sentar e fazer, que não é uma coisa fácil. Precisa de várias horas, precisa de dedicação, você precisa abrir mão de várias coisas, de estar com a família, de passear, de fazer outras coisas, e até mesmo de trabalhar para fazer isso. Mas eu sentia que eu tinha todos os recursos. Então, e tinha material gravado, os slides que eu podia passar, repassar, voltar. Tinha vários exemplos ali enquanto eu participava das aulas, daquelas 3 que a gente fez. Eu ia anotando, já ia tendo dicas, assim, ideias de como que eu ia justificar endereçar então cada requisito. Então, aquilo ali eu já tinha tudo material. Já estava com as ideias muito, muito frescas e tinha todo o suporte do teu material. Legal. Então foi muito mais fácil. Foi no mesmo dia, foi algumas horas depois que eu submeti. Eu até achei que, pela rapidez, eu achei que eles estavam pedindo mais coisas. Eu fiquei até com medo de abrir o e-mail.
E na hora que você abriu o e-mail, que leu assim...
Nossa, foi um alívio, parecia assim, 50 quilos das minhas costas, sabe? Foi muito bom, uma sensação assim maravilhosa. Bom, assim, pelo que eu entendi agora, não é só bom pro visto, que obviamente isso é um pré-requisito para tu aplicar, que eu tô, no meu caso, aplicando pro 491, mas ele te dá a possibilidade de abrir portas para realmente a gente trabalhar com o que a gente estudou, sabe? Com o que a gente realmente gosta. Então agora eu sei aqui na Tasmânia com esse reconhecimento, né? eu consigo trabalhar como engenheiro civil, então me abre portas para muitas empresas, para muitas vagas, e eu acho que isso eu acho que faz bem até para autoestima, sabe? Porque agora eu sou engenheiro civil na Austrália.
Engenheiro civil na Austrália.
Exatamente. Não, é muito bom e importante, sabe? Vale todo o esforço. Na verdade, Gerson, sou eu que tenho que te agradecer mais uma vez. Sem o teu apoio, eu tenho certeza que eu não teria conseguido. Não teria mesmo, sabe? E foi fundamental, tu foi muito atencioso, muito competente, super ético desde o início. Então, e eu comentei até num outro encontro que a gente fez com o pessoal, que nesse processo todo, por mais do tempo da correria e tudo, eu tive uma tranquilidade de saber que eu não seria banida por plágio, ou que eu teria qualquer problema nesse sentido, sabe? E eu tinha a tranquilidade de saber que o que foi feito fui eu que fiz. Então isso foi muito importante para o processo. Eu acho que é isso que o pessoal que está querendo vir, querendo trabalhar como engenheiro aqui, a gente tem que pensar muito nesse aspecto, sabe? Então, obrigada, e foi muito bom ter tido o teu apoio durante esse tempo todo.
Yeah, very inspiring indeed, Layla. Yeah, thank you very much. And congratulations. So she did a very great job, herself and the other 18 students. Yeah, so very important messages that she sent there. It's difficult. Sometimes you need to stop working a little bit because you need to do. And writing the reports, you need to sit down and write it. You need to plan. I keep saying to my students that 80% is about planning and thinking and organizing, and then 20% is writing. So a lot of people that they fail because they do the opposite. They think very little, they organize very little. They organize 20% and plan 20%, and they write 80%. And obviously, when you write without organizing or planning, the result is usually not good. And I'm sure that everybody here that's listening or listening to you, Layla, they wishing you certainly very success in this new journey. And some of you, maybe all of you, you're probably thinking that you are on the same boat. You have a lot of questions, you don't know how to start, a fear to invest your money. For example, in the mentoring program, she was in the first group. For her, it was even worse because we didn't, apart from my success, we didn't really have any other success in my mentoring. And she joined the first group. And even Rodrigo, the production engineer, he was also a student of the first group. So they were really, really brave too, and I thank for their trust, but they got their very good result in the end. So why were there differences between the two? What do you think was the difference between the two? Why one was the manager of a small section and the other one was the president of the company? There must be some difference. So here's the thing. I believe it's not intelligence, it's not talent, it's not dedication. It's not the fact that one person wants it and the other person doesn't want it. Honestly, in my opinion, what makes a difference is that there are reasonable people and unreasonable people. And by my definition, a reasonable person is one who fails to follow his or her own instinct, who fails to take small steps towards their goal, because it creates in your head a reason that prevents him or her from acting. For example, for some people, it's a lack of time. For others, it's a lack of money. For others, it's a lack of approval from family, husband, wife, children, friends. For others, it's fear. And for others, it's an absolute certainty they will not get the results they want to achieve. But on the other hand, there are unreasonable people. Unreasonable people are the ones who take the small steps towards its objectives, despite all the reasons against. Even with the lack of time, even with a lack of money, even with the lack of approval, even though I'm scared, even though there was uncertainty about the outcome. Now I'm going to tell you a secret. The great differences that happen in the world were made by people who practice the unreasonable. I'm sure that the people you admire are people who practice the unreasonable. But why am I telling you this? Because I just opened registration, as I said, for the next validation formula class, my online mentoring to teach you how to learn a structured method to validate your engineering degree in Australia. You may know, maybe not, but the validation formula is a mentoring program where I compile my experience of 26 years as an engineer and 15 years working as a recognized engineer here in Australia. The mentoring program, how does it work? It's a series of 25 modules in the style of video lessons with a total duration of approximately 9 hours. But the videos are small chunks. They probably 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes. Some videos are 20 minutes. But they are short videos that you can digest information, and there's a lot of tutorials and also lots of supporting material. And those 9 hours, they are between the videos, activities, and those modules cover the entire validation process, with several practical examples of how you can prepare your CDR in a solid and consistent way, substantially improving your chances of being approved by Engineers Australia. Does this mean that it's unique? Even though I haven't seen anything like it, I don't think it's unique. I still don't know any other mentoring program like mine. Because again, I teach you how to do it. I don't do it for you. I teach you how to do it. Does that mean it's the best? Not necessarily. Is it guaranteed that your CDR will be approved by Engineers Australia? Unfortunately, I cannot guarantee that, as assessment is based on your skills in demonstrating the 16 competencies required by Engineers Australia, and that you have had an active academic life and or work experience in the field. However, with the validation formula mentoring, you learn how to make your CDR stronger and with much better chances of being approved by Engineers Australia. It's a proven method with my own approval, and now with the approval of other engineers, 19, who have applied and they have been approved. So for now, it's a 100% approval rate. So what's investment required to be part of the next class of online mentoring program of the validation form? A lot of people, that's the first question. Gerson, how much that's going to cost when you next open? So is it now that I'm going to talk about investment? No, not quite yet. I'm going to talk about the 9 extra bonuses that I am including to help you in the validation process and in the search for a job in engineering, or even in any other area that you want to get a job. So the 9 extra bonuses, they are, first one, the VIP group in Telegram app. In Telegram, I've got a VIP group just for my students. All my students, they are part of a separate group. And in that group, they ask questions because the mentoring is a group mentoring. So they ask questions in the group, and then I answer the question in the group. So everybody sees the question and everybody sees the answer. And the benefit is that, let's say that here we've got Jessica, Luis, and João. They're listening here. Let's say that they were in the VIP group. Luis asks a question, and then I reply in the group. Let's say that Jessica has the same question, but she didn't ask. But because she saw the answer, she's already knows the answer. Or even João, that didn't have the question because he's not to that stage. Once he gets to that stage, instead of having the question, he has already the answer, so he's not going to have the question. So which means that the group collaborates to each other. A question of somebody can be the question of another person in the future. So that's why it's a group mentoring. I can help my students much better when we all work together and we all have the same objective, to be validated as an engineer. So you'll be part of this VIP group. So where my students, they can exchange experiences. They enrich the content and they have access to the mentoring program for 1 year after they join the program. It's important that the mentoring, I do not review documents. If you say, Gerson, I'm going to send you my career episode for revision. No, it's not included. I don't review career episodes. Why is that? Because you don't need to. If you follow the procedure, if you follow the formula, if you follow the steps, you don't need anyone to review your career episodes, because it will be written. If you follow all the do's and don'ts, you will not need a revision in your career episodes. However, you can send me your reference letter and your CPD, and I will provide some feedback as a special bonus. The normal price is $850 for this, but you get that for free. So there are 9 bonuses. So that was just bonus number 1. Bonus number 2, 3, and 4, there are 3 ebooks that I wrote. The first ebook, 7 tips for preparing the curriculum vitae. You will get an ebook with 7 tips to make your CV stand out, with more chances to be chosen by the recruitment panel. The normal price is $25. You get that for free. Bonus 3 is ebook, 7 tips for preparing a cover letter. You will get an ebook that I wrote. All those ebooks, I wrote those ebooks. How to make your cover letter stand out and improve your chances of being chosen for the interview. It's normally $25. You get that for free. The bonus number 4 is the 7 tips on how to behave in interviews. Another ebook that I wrote, knowing how to behave in a professional interview is essential. And with those 7 tips, you will increase your chances of being chosen as the candidate to be hired. Normal price is $25. You get that for free. And how do I know all of those things to write ebooks about how to get a job as an engineer? One, because I got already a few jobs as engineers. I got many promotions as well. And I have interviewed already, I don't know how many, almost more than 100 people to get a job as engineers or project managers. So I know what they do wrong and what they should be doing to get a job. Bonus number 5 is question and answer sessions. I'll be promoting a question and answer session every 2 months, where validation form students, they can participate for 12 months from the date of entry into the program. And during those live sessions, my VF students, I call them VF students, validation form students, they may ask about the content of the classes. Again, the sessions are not really reviewing or providing feedback on career episodes and summary statement, because you don't need to. And each Q&A session will be approximately 90 minutes. The normal price is $250. You get that for free as well. Bonus number 6 is skeleton action plan using 5W and 2H methodology. Using this action plan based on the 5W 2H methodology, it will guide you on the CDR preparation journey in only 30 days after the end of the modules. So it means that if you fill out that action plan, if you are in a rush, you can finish in 30 days after the end, after you finish all the 25 modules. I have students that they finished in 2.5 weeks because they had some very tight deadlines. The normal price is $25. You get that for free as well. Bonus number 7 is one of the most important bonuses. It's a compilation and feedback. These are 13 pages of compilation of feedbacks and comments that I sent to my students, and I compiled in one document. There are mistakes and there are things that you need to do. If you follow those advices, it's going to be very difficult for you to have a mistake in your career episodes. Sorry. So validation students have access to a preview of a compilation of comments and feedbacks that I provided to some students. And this will help you avoid some of the mistakes, saving you time, effort, money, and obviously saving frustration. The normal price is $300. You'll get that for free. Bonus number 8, Career Episode Planning and Summary Statement Assistant. It's an Excel planning tool that I created to help you to organize and plan your experiences. As I said, 80% is planning and organization, and if you cannot be organized, it's going to be difficult. So I put together this Excel planning tool, so to help you to organize, to write your career episodes and your summary statement. It contains the summary statement assistant, the academic work experience planner, and the checklist of the 16 competencies. In this academic work experience planner, I've got some questions there that will help you to choose the right experience for your career episode. The normal price is $100. You get that for free. And bonus number 9 is meeting of the validation formula students. I'll be promoting a meeting session inviting all students of the validation formula to exchange their experiences, sharing what worked and what didn't work, to foster a sense of community. Where to get farther, you don't go alone, but you go with company. These meeting sessions will be promoted via live webinar twice a year. The normal price is usually $200. You get that for free. So if you add up all of these bonuses, the total amount is $1,800, just the 9 bonuses. And guess how much you're going to pay for those bonuses? $0. It's all going to be part of the program. So when you think of the benefits of having a structured method that is based on experience, that will save you time in preparing the CDR by being structured, and this may be the difference between being able to apply for a future visa or not. And considering that the cost in the market, according to some engineers who quoted with consultants and agents, can reach something around $4,000 to $7,000, and take into account that if you get recognition of your engineering profession, can give you a chance to get a job, possibly that pay you $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 a year, and for several years. So $4,000, $7,000 probably is not a lot of money if you can get a job of $100,000, for example, or $60,000. But I know that many people cannot or can't immediately afford $4,000, $7,000. So what I propose to do, being the goal is to help you, is to achieve your life transformation in a more affordable way. The investment for you to secure a place in the next class of the validation formula is just going to be $1,497. It's really a great opportunity to begin your journey towards validating your engineering degree in Australia. And there's more. For the first 20 students in this next class, I decided to do something much better. Offer content worth between $4,000 and $7,000 in the market, offer for a much lower value. A real win-win strategy. You help me to form the next class, and I'll help you with an offer that cannot be declined. If you're one of the first 20 students in the next VF formula, I'll make the value only $897. Yes, you heard very well. From $1,497 for just $897. But just for the first 20 students in the validation formula class. So be quick and enjoy. If you go to my website, I'm going to show you the website soon. If the website is showing $1,497, it's because the promotion for the first 20 students is over. You waited too much. And don't forget about the massive 9 extra bonuses. Honestly, just those bonuses, they're worth $1,800. It's almost the double amount if you invest, if you are in the online mentoring validation formula with the first 20 students. And to thank you for your participation in the free workshop, I'm giving you a promotional webinar discount. So until Monday, midnight on Monday, or 11:59 p.m. on Monday, tomorrow, $697 until tomorrow, 11:59 p.m. So it's $800 discount from the normal investment. But after this time, if you go Tuesday, then the investment will be $897. It's still a massive discount. It's still $600 discount. But if you're seriously considering to become an engineer in Australia, don't wait. Go to the website until tomorrow, 11:59 p.m. make your enrollment. You get access straight away to the portal. I'm going to show the portal very soon. And if you're already excited about the online mentoring program, the 9 extra bonuses, let me tell you about my warranty. If in the first 30 days you have had no benefit through the validation formula mentoring and in Telegram, in providing and learning for a stronger CDR application, you just need to send me an email with a copy of your CDR, obviously to demonstrate that at least you tried to prepare your documentation, and saying that the classes of the mentoring program and the mentoring group in Telegram didn't add any value to your application, and I will return 100% of the amount paid for the validation formula. I'm not even going to discount the fees that PayPal and the credit cards companies, they charge me. I'll return 100% of what you paid. That's it. You're not at any risk. Very simple. Simple as that. So start your dream transformation into reality by being recognized as an engineering professional in Australia with an investment of only $697 during the special offer period of the free workshop webinar, which is tomorrow, Monday, 11:59 p.m. Brisbane time. Or after that, $897 for the first 20 students after the special offer period of the webinar offer. And the opportunity, I'm going to close enrollments next Sunday, 11:59. I'm going to close enrollments because obviously I need to start giving attention to my new students. So don't waste time and secure a place with this irresistible offer. Video lessons will be available as soon as you join the mentoring program. Right now, you have the chance to enroll in this class and be one of the first 20 students to have access to this special offer. But this window of opportunity will be closed on 20th March, next Sunday, when the registration closes, midnight. And the special offer can end at any time, so do not leave for the end. Be quick not to miss this opportunity. If more than 20 students enroll, let's say by Tuesday, if you leave until Saturday or Sunday to close it, you may pay $1,497. And remember, I will send an email to my list of subscribers on my website of 2,727 people. You will be one receiving an email as well. So the first 20 places can be sold pretty fast. So then don't say I didn't warn you. And believe it or not, all you need to do is to beat procrastination and take a small step toward your goal. Remember the opening webinar about procrastination? You need to take action. If you don't take action, you may pay the price. And between you and me, I know you want to validate your engineering degree. If you didn't want to, you probably would have already removed yourself from my mailing list a long time ago. Why would you be receiving my emails still if you're not interested in becoming an engineer in Australia? But being recognized as an engineer is not for anyone. Being recognized is for the unreasonable. My wife and I were unreasonable back in 2005. We dropped everything. We had great jobs, our comfortable life, family, friends, perks, and we came here. We cleaned toilets, we cleaned floors, we washed dishes, we served as waiters. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's an honest job like any other job. I don't think we were very reasonable. At least our families, they didn't think we were reasonable. But today, we know that if we had been reasonable at that time, we would be in the same situation to this day. Perhaps we're still in Brazil, we're still doing the things that we used to do. We're not going to be here. So think about the big changes you've made in your life until today. Should being unreasonable be a common term between them? Most of people I talk to say yes, they were unreasonable. And I'm giving you this opportunity now. Don't miss the opportunity to be one of the first 20 unreasonable students of the validation formula and secure a seat not by $1,497, but until tomorrow, 11:59 p.m., with the webinar offer, just $697, including all the bonuses VIP group and Telegram with 1 year of my mentoring, ebook with 7 tips for CV, ebook with 7 tips for the cover letter, ebook with 7 powerful tips for professional interview, the live Q&A sessions every 2 months for 12 months, an action plan module using the 5W2H methodology, the compilation and comments of the feedback I provided to my students, career episode planning tool and summary statement assistant, catch-up session with the validation former students, and this opportunity will end next Sunday, 20th of March. So visit my website, validationmentoring.com. I might put in the comments there so you guys can have a look. Validationmentoring.com. The website can be a little bit slow because I built the site and sometimes the site can be a little bit slower. So I'm just copy and pasting so you guys can have a look at the website. So click on the button on the page and sign up. And now with the option of 3 payments, but in one payment comes out $50 cheaper. And please note that the webinar offer, $697, cannot be split in 3 payments. After the webinar offer, then you can split in 3 payments. So be unreasonable, make it happen. And a legend says that one of the greatest pains of those who are on the deathbed is regret. And I believe it's very difficult to find someone at the end of life who feels sorry to have been unreasonable. Most people regret that they were not unreasonable enough when they were given the opportunity. Think about it. Thank you very much. God bless you. I'll see you in the video classes of the validation formula, and I'm going to answer some questions now. I'll check if there are some questions. Where is the questions there? That's a QR code. You can take a picture and then it goes to the website. I'm actually going to show you the portal. I will open up now. Just going to open the portal. So that's, you open Google, go to www.validationmentoring.com. So that's the website there. Again, I developed this website. So if the website is not good, sorry, you guys now probably can hear now. You guys probably can hear now, yes. So that's the website that I created. So there's a couple of videos here. I don't know what's happening, but there should be a couple of videos here, one in Portuguese, another in English, with the information there. And then you can go to enroll now with $800 discount. Let's see if it's working. It should be working, hopefully. Yeah, it's loading up. And then you go to the page there. You can see that's $697 for the promotion. You add to the cart. And once you add to the cart, I don't know. Oh yeah, I've already added. So view the cart, because I already had it there. So you see that the cart is just showing what you've got there. So $697, validation formula, online mentoring program. There's a cart. proceed to checkout. Because I'm logged in, you will see that it came already pre-filled, but you have to put all your names, etc. Probably going to... I've got already the email address, and underneath here, because I'm logged in, but if I am new customer, I would have here the username and password. So don't forget to put your username and your password, because this is going to be your access to the portal. And I'm going to show you the portal. And then you can pay direct bank transfer. But direct bank transfer, you get an email showing, asking to deposit into my bank account and send me an email of the receipt, the transfer receipt, so I can then free your access. If not, you can pay under PayPal or credit card. And the portal is validationformula.com. Quickly show you the portal. So that is the portal. Once you get your login, you will find the portal, view mentoring program. And here you've got access to all the 25 modules and all the bonuses as well. For example, all of those bonuses, they are here. Let's say, for example, ebooks, tips for professional interview. It's all PDF. So that's the ebook that I wrote. It's actually, the ebook is written in Portuguese and English. So if you are a Portuguese speaker, you had the advantage, you can read in Portuguese as well. And all of other bonuses are there. And then the video classes, they have different modules. For example, the competency demonstration report steps, all those videos there. I've got a tutorial here, Engineers Australia My Portal. I believe this is where I show how to access the portal.
Hi everyone.
And you will see that there are two videos. It's just because I had different players. I'm doing some tests, which player is better, but they all have the same content.
Hi everyone, this is Gerson, and for engineering technologists, or your resume. So a lot of the details, what needs to be in the about your employment.
So that's an example of a tutorial. And then the classes, I will show you, for example, planning the career episodes. So the classes there, how the classes are, and you can watch the classes at your own time, your own speed. You can watch and rewatch as many times as you want to.
Well,
so these are the classes there. I got PowerPoints. And
addressing competencies, the definition of efficacy, efficiency, and your experience with the from A to B. We're not going to do A to C.
So the classes are all there, and the 25 modules, every single competency. I'll show you a competency here. Let's say professional use of management of information. For every single...
Welcome to this lesson.
For every competency, I talk about each competency, and I give lots of examples.
Like creativity, technological opportunities, systematic investigation, information means authenticity.
So with that information, you have access to a lot of examples that I provide to you guys, and lots of tutorials as well. So you have access to all of this, plus the VIP group, and plus all other bonuses there as well. All right. Do you guys have any question? I'm just going to check here. Normally through PayPal. Yeah, Luis is asking, it's possible to split the payment in 4 installments? Will the same happen with your service? I'm not sure, because with PayPal, I think it's, well, at least the account that I have with PayPal is just one payment. If you can access, because splitting the payment is how PayPal, etc., they do it. I've got with what they call partially, and partially is, I think it's a sister company of Stripe. So what they have is 3 payments. I don't know if it can be done in 4. Potentially could, but yeah. But with PayPal is usually just one payment. If you can split with PayPal directly, perhaps PayPal pay me once and then they charge you some fee to split the payment. But as I said, I do everything myself, so we'll investigate if the payment can be split in 4 payments with PayPal. But yeah. All right. I'll see if is there any other question in Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. No questions there in YouTube. No question in Facebook. And I don't believe there's a question in Instagram. All right, so if there's no more questions, I would like to thank you guys very much. And remembering that tonight I'm going to have question and answers in the weekly live sessions, 8:30 p.m. Brisbane time on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And this coming Tuesday and Thursday, I'm going to have the 15 minutes of free consulting that I drew last week. And I'm going to keep answering questions and answers about the validation process. So Tuesday and Thursday is just going to be Instagram. So please follow my profile at Gerson Ida and follow me there so you are notified that when I go on live. And depending on the number of questions, I might give another free consulting service for next week then. So please participate if you're interested. And if you're wanting to become an engineer in Australia with more security and less questions, please have a look at the validation mentoring program on my website, www.validationmentoring.com. Have a look. If it is for you, I'm more than happy to be your mentor. If it's not, that's okay. You can still follow my content and we can still be friends. There's no other worries. Okay? Thank you very much, guys. And I'll see you then. Bye-bye.